Hey guys, how we doing and how we feeling today? Okay, so on this episode we're gonna talk about and review PinkPantheress's debut studio album titled Heaven Knows. Now, in case you don't know who PinkPantheress is, she's best known for her Billboard Hot 100 number 3 hits, Boy's a Liar Part 2 featuring Ice Spice, which is part of this album. Now, leading up to the album release, we had three singles: Mosquito, Capable of Love, and Nice to Meet You, which was pushed as a single on the album release date. Now, onto the album itself. The album is 34 minutes and 14 seconds long, so it's kind of on the shorter side of a listening session, so you can really breeze through it. Now, starting with the first track, Another Life featuring Rema. And you might know who Rema is because of his 2023, this year's hit, Calm Down featuring Selena Gomez. But, anyways, this is for the most part a solid opening track. The only thing holding it back is Rema's feature, unfortunately, because he was really good in his track, the one that I just mentioned, Calm Down. But in this song it feels like it's not a really good fit for him, you know? His feature isn't particularly strong. However, the production is interesting. It's quite interesting. When the song starts, it really pulls you in. It has an interesting, as I said, an interesting sound to it. And the song is about a relationship that has already fizzled out. The two people don't really understand each other, so they conclude that perhaps the only other time they'll see each other again is in another life. And I mean, this can happen to anyone, really. Whenever a relationship dies out, this really happens, like the two people don't really, they're like strangers to each other now. And that's really strange, no pun intended, because you know with everything they went through together as a couple, but now that the relationship is over, they it's like they don't recognize each other anymore. So, as I said, the only time they think they'll reunite is in another life. But in this life, they feel like their paths won't cross each other's anymore. Now, moving on to track number 2, True Romance. In this song, PinkPantheress talks about her admiration for a fellow artist. She wishes to be noticed by him rather than just be viewed as another stranger in his life. And I found this track quite interesting lyrically because, with PinkPantheress being an artist, even though she's relatively new in terms of her mainstream success, which started pretty much this year in 2023. Even with her being an artist, as I'm saying, with her, it's interesting to see an artist talk about another artist in this light, that they have an affection towards them, and they think that other artist sees them as a stranger, as someone unknown to them. So, and they don't want to be viewed like that. They want to, as I said, they want to be noticed by them. Now, track number 3, Mosquito, the first of my highlights on the album. This is a lead single. Both the instrumentation and production mesh really well together. And in this song, PinkPantheress explores her relationship with money and material possessions. She examines her spending tendencies and questions herself on what leads her to them. Since her money is her only prized possession, she treasures it deeply. Now she even hesitates to spend it. And This is quite an interesting message to be delivered, because you know, m- with money, there is that dilemma, like with money and material possessions, as I said, because you really have to look at it and like really evaluate it and really determine um, what you should use it for, whether you should flaunt it, show it off, or just keep it to yourself. Um, you have to determine what kind of lifestyle you want to have, and whether or not you let that money, you know, uh, take you down some dark paths. So you really have to decide all of that. And with Pink Pantheress being an artist, it's even a more interesting thing to think about, because with all the success she's having now, um, she really has to be careful with that. Now, moving on to track number 4, The Isle, another one of my highlights. The production is this song's biggest strength, and in this song, Pink Pantheress talks about not wanting to lose her significant other. She feels as if she can't bear to lose anyone else in her life. So she wishes to eventually tie the knot with this person instead of having to watch him walk out on her. This is an on and off relationship, which is why Pink Pantheress is certain that this person is sticking around. And I mean, yeah, this song, with it being titled The Aisle, I think of, walking down the aisle, getting married to someone, and Pink Pantheress is quite literally talking about this in this song. And this is, I mean, this can be a pretty relatable song, because, when you lose so many people in your life, friends, loved ones, family, whoever it may be, and you're dating someone, with all the people you have lost already, and for example, with Pink Pantheress being, so young, I believe she's like 22 years old. Um, if she has already lost so many people in her life already at that young age, then she doesn't want to lose anyone else, obviously. But talking about the person she's dating, she she wants to marry this person. She doesn't want to lose him, and that goes for anyone. I mean, there's a certain kind of person that you believe uh, is meant to be with you. That it's meant to be your spouse. And since this song is talking about an on and off relationship, you feel that even with it being on and off, the fact that that person has uh, co- come back to you multiple times already, that makes you believe that they're gonna come back to you no matter what. Now, track number 5, Nice to Meet You, featuring Central C. Pink Pantheress's vocals sound pretty smooth here. Central C's feature, however, doesn't really add anything to the song, but other than that, this is a pretty solid song. And in this song, Pink Pantheress talks about being head over heels for the person she's currently seeing. The love she has for them seems endless. Not everything is sunshine though, because she catches her partner lying about not being unfaithful to her, and she wastes no time in breaking up with him and cutting all ties to him. He tries to win her back, but she's made up her mind. And I mean, yeah, that happens to anyone. You know, you there's a honeymoon phase. Everything is all colorful and bright and happy. But then, there can come a time when things are not so good anymore. That other person you're seeing, they start lying to you, and they start, you know, being unfaithful to you, as I already said. So you really have to respect yourself enough to, you know, just dump them. Just be on your own for a while instead of just continue to be with someone who doesn't respect you enough to be honest with you, to just be with you and not involve themselves with anyone else. Now, track number 6, Bury Me featuring Kalela. Kalela's feature complements the song quite well, and this song is pretty solid. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next track. So, track number 7, Internet Baby Interlude. This interlude feels like filler, and this song is also quite repetitive. It's not a very strong song at all. So, in this song, PinkPantheress talks about her experiences dealing with parasocial relationships created by some of her fans. She wants to make it crystal clear that she doesn't view these fans, the same way they view her. Even though she can see a certain charm to this obsession, she knows it's best for both sides to put an end to this unhealthy relationship. And okay, so this thing about parasocial relationships, it's becoming more and more common with time. You know, with celebrities and their fans. And it's quite a dangerous thing to be a part of, because, as I already said, a fan can be so obsessed with an artist that they love that they believe in their mind that they're friends with them, they know them. But the reality is that they don't. That artist doesn't know of that fan's existence, but that fan sees it the other way around. So, even though, for example, in the song PinkPantheress can see a certain, bright side to it. I don't know how she sees it, but she sees it, to this obsession. She knows that it's not healthy, that it's really a twisted thing to practice. So yeah. Now, moving on to track number 8, Ophelia, another song that unfortunately is not quite exciting. And in this song, PinkPantheress talks about a case scenario where her partner murders her and how she could have avoided ending up with this fate if she had treated them better. Okay, so this song is a little, I was kind of taken aback when I, really sat down and read the lyrics, because I don't think I had heard of a song that talked about something like this. Picturing yourself being murdered by your partner, it's quite wild, to say the least. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, so let's just move on. Now, track number 9, Feel Complete. The instrumentation is the song's biggest strength, and this is a song about having an alcoholic partner who gets so lost in this vice that it takes them out of the moment. You feel a great deal of disappointment when you realize that they're far from the kind of person you thought they were, and you can't even picture yourself succumbing to this vice and feeling like them every day. On the contrary, you want nothing more than to just feel complete and functional. So yeah, as this song is titled Feel Complete, alcoholism is quite a serious topic, obviously, but what I mean by that is that, yeah, that's what alcoholism does to people, as many of us should know by now. So, being with someone who has advice is quite dangerous, of course. So, you, if you can't even imagine yourself being like that, then how can you even be with someone like that? Now, moving on to track number 10, Blue. This song is a bit it's a bit on the repetitive side, and this is a song about realizing that the person you're dating is no longer good for you and proceeding to cut ties with them, being the best thing you can do for the sake of your well-being. And yeah, this is quite a simple and straightforward message, and something that everyone should do, something that everyone should live by, because it's just plain and simple. I mean, when you realize that someone is not benefiting you enough, well, not enough, is not benefiting you by being with you, like it's not doing you any good, like nothing good, then you really just have to accept that that is that, and you can't do anything to change that. I mean, as much as you may like this person, you can't really um, go forward with this, because you know that this person, if they were good to you before and now they're not, then most likely that's not going to change anytime soon or anytime. So you're better off just dumping them. Now, track number 11, Feelings, another one of my highlights. PinkPantheress gets things going once again, and her vocal performance is pretty impressive here. And this song is about finally having the kind of love you always wanted and never wanting to give it up, regardless of how the relationship unfolds. And yeah, I mean, the song is also pretty relatable, because uh, you can meet a person that and be in love, and not only that, but actually be with someone who you really love. And as I said, the kind of love that you always were looking for. Sorry, and now that you have it, you don't want to let that person go, no matter what happens, no matter how they treat you or anything of the sort. But I mean, that is not a healthy thing to do, obviously. I mean, if they, like, sometimes you have to let people go, even if you don't want to, but it's the right thing to do for both parts, but especially for you. Now, moving on to track number 12, Capable of Love. The production is a bit unpleasant, but the instrumentation, on the other hand, is solid. And this is a song about being deeply in love with someone, but a part of you fears that this love will eventually die out. If and when that time comes, you don't picture yourself being capable of loving someone new after this person ceases to be in your life. And yeah, I mean, another pretty relatable song, because, a lot of these songs are kind of similar in their messaging. So this one is also about, being, as I said, deeply in love with someone. But you, in this case, you have the fear of that love eventually, ending. And when that time comes, when you're no longer with this person, you feel as if like they're the last person that you can love, or that you're capable of loving, as the title says. And you don't feel like there's anyone for you afterwards. But I mean, as with the previous song, this is not a healthy thing to live by, because of course there's always gonna be someone else for you. I mean, you can't just fixate yourself on one person and give up on love when that person is no longer with you. You know what I mean? And lastly, final track on this album, Boy's a Liar Part 2. This is a remix to PinkPantheress's 2022 song featured on her 2022 EP, Take Me Home. This song peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. As I said at the beginning of this review, this is PinkPantheress's biggest hit to date. And also, this is by far the strongest song of the album. The production here is stellar. Ice Spice makes the most out of her feature. And dare I say, this is the best feature on the album, by far. And this is a song about a guy who treats the person he's seeing terribly, constantly lying about what he's up to, and simply not caring about the other person's feelings. This person knows that the guy is not being honest with them, and if that weren't bad enough already, they feel sort of dependent on this guy. And yeah, this song is also really relatable because, you have to, when you figure out that your partner is lying to you, and not only that, they've been treating you terribly, you really have to love yourself enough to separate yourself from that person, put a distance between you two. But if you have a sort of dependency on them, then that's a problem. Obviously, you have to first grow to be independent of them, and then just good riddance and get rid of them. Okay, so overall, this album has both a strong start and a strong finish. However, this isn't a very strong pop album. I feel like it had potential to be better, but this is what we got. This album is inconsistent in quality, and one half of the featured artist has excellent features and the other half doesn't. However, the first half of the album is stronger than the latter half. Now, when comparing this album to the rest of PinkPantheress' discography, is this her best body of work to date? I would say no. I consider Take Me Home, her 2022 EP that I already mentioned, as her best body of work to date. Just going briefly through her discography, even though it's brief. So we first had her mixtape To Hell With It, which was a mid-tier debut. It wasn't very impressive, but it had its moments. It has its moments. Now, and then we had her EP Take Me Home, and this was a solid follow-up body of work. And this brings us to her debut studio album, which we're reviewing, Heaven Knows. Now, what score do I give Heaven Knows? I give it 3 out of 5 stars. So yeah, guys, that was my review for Heaven Knows by PinkPantheress. Before I go, make sure to follow Pop and Bop on social media for more content. It's at Pop and Bop on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok and Threads, and Pop and Bop on Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, guys, this has been Pop and Bop. I'm Emilio Fernandez, and thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.